invite up the directors, please, of each of the short films. Okay. All right, so a round of applause for our filmmakers. Okay, so I'm going to start with a general question for all of you, the inspiration for your film.
First of all, I can start by saying thank you for everyone that came out, first and foremost. I know it's late, it's past some people's bedtimes, I'm sure. All my family, co-workers, thank you. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. The inspiration for this For Father Be With Us was simply, we wanted to do a piece that was somewhat thought-provoking, simply done, small budget, and to get it done in one day, which is what we did. One day.
Oh, wow, great.
So that was really inspiration.
Goodness. Hi. I was looking for new pieces to challenge myself with as an actor and learn and stretch as a filmmaker, and also do it in a very short amount of time. We shot that in 2 hours, so like it was a good process that way. The Talisman, the father and the daughter. Sorry.
Hello, Matthew Kaplan. My film was It's Time for Tea. Inspiration, believe it or not, the seed of the idea for this film about a father or a parent regressing to the child's age to replace her came from an improvised comedy scene. It became a sketch after that and then a film, but I also wanted to explore the theme of how as we age, we lose touch with our inner child, and that causes us to lose contact with our imagination and what makes us unique. Yeah, that's it.
Hi, my name is Joanne. I'm actually the writer, producer, not the director of Where's Lily. The inspiration, so it was a few things. One of them, I was friends with this girl who was a babysitter, and one day she had an interview to babysit for this really wealthy family. And she called me at like 10 a.m. and asked, she was babysitting someone at the time, so she called me at 10 a.m. and asked me to meet her at this cafe, and that she would buy me lunch if I could watch this toddler that she was babysitting for an hour. So as I was sitting there, watching this little kid, I was like, oh, what if I lost this kid? What would happen? And that was like the beginning of it. And then the guy who plays the clown, he's an actual mime and like clown. He's a friend of mine, and he showed me a video of him doing his clown stuff, and I just thought it was the funniest thing, so I just kind of put them together.
Hi, I'm PJ Landers, Rockaway Sunset. For me, obviously, the motivation for the whole thing was my mother, and to show a special person and to show a powerful person in my life and somebody who has made me who I am. And that's why I did that film for her. And thank you. The film, although is obviously mostly a drama, everybody in it is a stand-up comedian, as well as I am. I've been doing comedy for over 20 years. And that was a special thing about this as well, that they were all comedians that were part of it. And it was a 2-day shoot that we purposely did 8-hour days. And it was a great time to do, and also just to be part of this festival. I want to thank everybody for the love that you've shown. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy, this is Alfonso, and our film was Move On. I would say it was a compilation of a few people's personal stories that I wanted to honor and bring to light, I suppose. It's funny, someone said to me, you know, are you highlighting too much on what happened in the past with what he experienced? And I think the more of the takeaway for me is how his brother treats him, and this idea of you telling somebody how to grieve or how to handle something. So hopefully that it honors that person that I know and gives them a little closure. So thank you.
Hi, my film is A Chance, Julie Simon. And this was based on a 10-minute play by Angie Arabatsis. And so he was wanting to put something out there about how, you know, love, it just doesn't always die, even though you're not in the relationship with a person. And he decided to cast me and Karen Irwin as the two ex-lovers, even though he'd written it originally for a man and a woman, but he said, your energies, I would love to see those two energies as the ex-lovers. So I thought that was a terrific idea, and it inspired me to also say, well, I said, let's make it into a short and flesh out with flashbacks. I thought that was cool. The dialogue he had was so terrific, I wanted to make it a short film. And then I thought, because he made it into something that was two people of the same gender and love, then there's so much we can say about that like then they get bullied and harassed just because of, you know, who they love, and it's just all about love, really.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions for any of the filmmakers? Questions? Okay, yes.
Hi, I was wondering if we could hear a little bit more about the ending of It's Time for Tea.
Sure. I guess, let me ask you, what did you think it was? Because it's interesting, a lot of people, I have my idea. I think it's always important that the artist knows what he or she is thinking for an ending or any part of it. But I also think it's really interesting to hear other people's interpretation, so I'd be curious to hear yours.
I thought that was her regressing as well. Like, that was too much for her, both losing her daughter and essentially losing her husband, I assume. And I thought that was her checking out mentally. It was too much for her as well, and so she was going into whatever her world was about to be.
That's pretty close to what I was thinking. It's interesting, a lot of people, some people have said, oh, is she dead? Did she die? Who's real, who's not? Is she an alien? But the way I see it is because she has lost touch with her inner child and closing off all of her imagination and what's really inside her, while her husband is very comfortable regressing. So basically everything outside is everything that she's been closing off in her life. And so similar to what you were saying, it is her regressing to a degree to rediscover her life and get back in touch with herself. That's the way I see it, but I welcome everyone to have their own interpretation.
Any other questions? Well, okay, right here, go ahead.
Any of you interested in converting your short films to a full feature? And what would be the process?
I actually wrote mine to be a stage play. That's what my intentions were. Then we developed the idea to try to put it to film by incorporating some great stage play actors. So making it a full film was not my plan, but I definitely used that dynamic to try to give it a stage play feel.
Let's all the way in the back of the door.
Yes, the gentleman who just spoke, could you talk a little bit about what was your inspiration for Father Be With Us?
Well, the story's about healing and reconciliation about within the family, basically is what it's about, and about the misconceptions of things that we see that aren't necessarily what they are. For instance, with the death of the father being perceived as being something that was caused by the police officer, which it wasn't. It was actually a health issue. So it's also tying in the issue of health awareness amongst black men that are reaching their later years. You know, as someone that's not that far off of my age yet, you know, being on top of our health is something that we don't consciously always do or are willing to do. So I wanted to point out that issue of just being more proactive with taking care of your health and knowing your health. But aside from having the issue of that does exist with police brutality, that does exist, that put a lot of us at risk of losing our lives, we also put ourselves at risk of losing our own lives by the failure to be on top of our health.
We had a question right here.
Yeah, about the same movie. If you did it as a play, would you still put the reveal at the end, or with the, the way you had David at the end, you saw what really happened?
Right.
Would it be that way? Was that always your intention for the movie, and if you did it as a play, would it stay in that?
Well, believe it or not, as we developed the script, which was in a very short period of time, and when we first came together as a unit, meeting the actors and auditioning, it just developed. I changed the ending about 3 times, correct, Stan? About 3 times. And it was really the actors that really gave me the push as to which direction to go into end it, based upon their grasp of the character. So would I end it that way on the stage? Not too sure. Probably have a totally different ending on stage.
Kind of ambiguous, the last shot. Wow, I didn't know what to think of it, because he picks up the gun, the oldest brother.
Right.
That surprised me. Wow.
Thank you. It's you and the characters that bring the story to life. I just write it, and it's just words on a page. It's them that bring it to life, so I'm thankful for that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and what were you trying to say there in that very last brother? You want to tell me, or you?
That was his Malcolm X moment, if I will. Just at the window. If you know what that means, I shouldn't have to really get into that too deeply. Let everyone else speak here. But that's what it was. It was just bringing light to that and really just putting it into the cycle. Basically.
Okay. Yeah, in the back.
I'm curious if any of you have a story where the limitations inspired something in the film, as in you had a location, you only had an actor for a certain amount of time, or so if there's a story where the movie changed because of the limits you had. That might be too heady of a question.
In the father-daughter park scene, there's a cutaway of the girl's mother, and we were shooting in December in Madison Square Park. It was 35 degrees out, so at the 2-hour mark, we called it a day, when we could have probably done 20 more minutes of different takes with the mother in terms of changing the mood of. It could have completely changed the piece, depending on her reactions to the story that her daughter just told her about her weekend with her dipstick dad. So that was weather-based.
Speaking of things that are weather-based, I think that the fact that when we were shooting, it was freezing. We were supposed to shoot in September, and the shoot date just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed because my co-director wasn't able to get back from Australia until like mid-November. So it was so cold that I was shivering, and it was very hard to, speak, move your lips, because it was so cold, because we were there for a number of hours right by the river. And I think that it actually adds to the story in that these two people want to be there. My character wants to be there so badly. She's struggling through the cold because that bench, that particular place has meaning, and she chose it. So I actually think, and then the colors. So I think it actually all ended up working, even though it was like, tough to get through it. But I think it works for the film.
And I just want to, final minute we have, I just want to ask each of the filmmakers, if you have a moment or a scene in your film that is your favorite moment or the most pivotal moment you feel as the filmmaker.
My favorite moment was the scene between the 3 brothers in the bedroom, which was very long, very drawn out, and they knocked it out in one take. One take. it was done like that to give it that theater feel. Like I wanted to just have continuous play like a theater, like a stage play. You know? And they did an excellent job. And mind you, one of the actors was brand new. He's never been in front of the camera at all. And, they did an excellent job.
The little girl in my scene, Grace Brancato, who was here for the first half but had to go back to Jersey because it's past her bedtime. I wish you could see the entire footage that we left on the cutting room floor. She had never done film before. She had only done like regional theater. So this was her first time in front of a camera. And just every reaction was so fresh and honest and different and nuanced, and just everything she's doing. My favorite part of the film is when she's talking about the necklace and her friend stopped wearing it. It's just matter of fact, she just stopped wearing it, and I could watch that every day. So.
I don't know if I have one favorite moment, but I guess overall it's just to see it now on this big screen and with this great sound and everyone watching it, to see how it came together. I had never made a film before. I had no idea what I was doing. Thankfully, I was surrounded by some amazing crew and cast that are here with us today. So yeah, just the whole thing, just to see it and see with all of you is that's all my favorite.
My favorite part of the film was when the clown was showing Lily how to mime. He's a really amazing clown mime person. So I wanted to have him do some stuff, and I think I want him to do more, but because of time and we were losing light, that was as much as we could get, but that was my favorite part.
I guess for me would be the ending right before the very ending, when they had that moment to look at the sun together. And the both of them have had these moments, they've shared their lives together, just like we do. You might meet a stranger out there and share things with that person that you might not another person. And these two bonded and they were completely strangers. So that moment when they just have that right before they see the sun was one of my favorite moments of the film.
Yeah, I think endings are huge with short films. It's kind of like your last impression you want to leave with your audience, and move on. There's a part where Eric gets up to takes the shoes to leave. That's why he came there in the first place. And James actually wants to say something to him. He wants to turn and his brother, and there's a quick moment where he turns and then he just stays facing forward. So yeah, I think the ending for me.
I think for me it's like that there are so many, and I'm gonna go ditto with Matthew's answer that it's an honor to be here and get to see it for the first time on screen and hear the reaction and be part of the Big Apple Film Festival, and there's lots of stuff, so I won't choose.
All right, I want to thank our filmmakers. Congratulations, all of you. Thank you all for coming out and supporting the film. Thank you.